We did a sales script and he drilled me for like an hour and I closed $20,000 in the next 2 days. And now we're in August of 2025 and now we're legitimately talking about our first 100K month. I was so drawn to the way that you made really complicated business and marketing and sales talk, how you really simplified it. When I signed up for you, it was like all the mystery went away and I clearly knew what next steps were. And that was a game changer for me, man.
Alrighty, welcome to the channel, Mark. Super glad to have you here. Mark Casto has an amazing story as far as scaling up his business and just an amazing human being in general. And I really want people to hear his story and his journey that he's been on, not just in business, but also through life, because you have a really interesting story too that I think people would like to hear. But yeah, welcome to the channel, Mark. If you can just give us your name and then what you're currently doing and a little bit about your backstory.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, man. Well, thanks, Brett, for having me today, man. It's an honor, and what you've been doing for me has really changed my life and business. So it's just an honor to jump on here and talk today. But as Brett said, my name's Mark Casto. I live in Mobile, Alabama at the time. I'm a husband, father of 4. So we got our hands full with all of that. Backstory about me, I grew up in a very legalistic church tradition, which meant that at a young age, having a passion for God automatically meant you were called to preach or pastor or do something like that. So I got tossed into the ministry world at like 18 years old. And by the age of 19, I started traveling all over the world and built an international ministry by the time I was 22. Or helped build an international ministry. And then, man, I think by the age of 25, we had taken a small group of people, like teenagers, college age students, from 6 people to like 200 families, moved from like 26 different states. Thousands of people started coming to our conferences and gatherings. We bought 100 acres of land, built a $23 million facility, debt-free, 5 months before we ever opened up the space. And like, it was just like unbelievable to see that at like 25 years old. I was traveling 42 weekends out of the year, speaking sometimes 7 times a weekend on the road. And it was like everything that was quote unquote you could experience in ministerial success. But in 2015, man, at like the height of all of that ministry and influence and all of that, I started looking around. 2 things were happening. I started looking around at some of my heroes in the ministry world and realized, man, some of them, their marriages were falling apart. Their kids didn't really want anything to do with them. And I started evaluating my life, and I started judging some of these men in my heart. And I can remember one day just sitting there hearing 2 of my heroes talk in a green room one time. And I started judging them in my heart. Like, how could you influence all of these people and yet your families be falling apart? And just like that, I heard this inner whisper that said, Mark, if you don't change what you're doing in 20 years, you'll have the same story. And so in 2015, man, I took all of that ministerial success and threw it in the trash and went and moved to nowhere, South Carolina, to be the best husband and father I could possibly be. And so that started a whole journey, man, of like coming out of really legalistic religion, having a deep spiritual encounter with Jesus, and then, which ultimately took me on a journey the past 10 years of really embracing entrepreneurship and getting a vision that's a lot bigger than just a 4-walled church building and a pulpit. And because of being able to take that risk and being able to walk away from quote unquote success, that's what's opened the door for us to step into what we're doing now and connect with guys like you. And now we're changing lives. We're just changing lives in a different way. So that's a little bit of a big background of Mark Casto.
Yeah. Before we get into the business, I kind of want to know a little bit more, like, or this would move us into the business, but what was it like making that transition? Like, you were 20 million ministry, like you're building all that out. Like, what was that like transitioning? How hard was that?
Man, I mean, the way I was raised in a pastor's home, ministry was everything. So like, and there's ideas about what making it looks like in every world. So I'm like 23, 24, 25 and quote unquote making it in a way that most people would never experience in their entire life in ministry. And I remember praying one day and I was just like, Lord, why would you allow me to experience all of this success in my 20s just to have me walk away from it? Like, why would you do that? And I really felt, again, that inner whisper, like this is not an audible voice. This is just like this inner whisper that's like, Mark, I allowed you to experience those things so you wouldn't spend the rest of your life chasing it. And so like those kind of things, like I really do believe that sometimes we experience things that we think we want just to show us it's not what we actually need. And that's a game changer, right? So, I mean, like I saw so many things like ministers, people that I looked up to, marriages falling apart, success ruined them, money ruined them. I started, so some of that, seeing like the dark side or the backside of ministry that no one wants to talk about, that was a pretty good motivator to go, I don't want to do that. But secondly, I mean, at the end of the day, man, like not only seeing that and knowing that if I stayed that path, I might be the next victim of that. It was more for me, not just like trying to avoid that, but like family became my priority. And so like I no longer saw changing the world as reaching thousands of people. I saw changing the world, investing my life and my legacy into the 4 kids that I have. And so like, man, I don't know how to explain it, but I can tell you this, I can tell you the hard parts of it. You know, people that were my biggest fans became my number one enemy when I walked away from that, because they don't understand. They understand how people rise to success, but they can't fathom that people would walk away from it. And you know, Brett, one of the craziest things was like my dad, and I can talk about this now, but my dad was like my number one cheerleader, obviously as a pastor. He's like, man, my son is doing it big. And he started in this little church of mine in nowhere, West Virginia. And now he's traveling all over the world, has built this major ministry. And my dad went from my biggest cheerleader to when I walked away from that, he absolutely like became my number one enemy. And man, it was hard because many times we are called to do things that our parents never did. And it makes it almost worse when we achieve what our parents always dreamed for their own lives and for us, and then to walk away and say, that's not authentic to who I am. And they struggle to understand that. Mm-hmm. So like, dude, I had to walk through the pain of leaving good people behind that misunderstood my transition, even my own father who misunderstood my transition. But the good news is I took 5 years to really walk this out, to build my life upon what I felt like was authentic to me. And it began to produce fruit that everybody around us could see. And they could not deny that we had made the right decision.
Yeah, I totally feel that. Like choosing that pathway that nobody wants you to choose. Like I kind of had the same exact thing with my father. Like he really wanted me to play baseball in college, like really, really bad. Like that was my whole life. He, you know, was my coach and everything, and he wanted me to play. But I said, no, I think I want to pursue entrepreneurship. And he was very frustrated about that. I remember us arguing and everything, and it's a tough choice to make, but like sometimes there's that thing inside you're just like, no, this isn't right. And you got to go the pathway of yourself. But yeah, man, crazy story that you have. We can even like dive more into that, but I want to know more about what you're currently doing at the moment. Just let the people know like what you're doing, what's your offer, and how are things going?
Yeah. So, man, it's crazy. So like part of that ministry world that I was in, I end up authoring like 4 books, and those books did well. But what really took them over the top was digital products. And so the thing that really pushed my books to the next level was every time I released a book, I released a digital course around it to really drive the point home even deeper. And so I had experienced that kind of success for many, many years. But when I started really like going, okay, I'm seeing something here that's really interesting is I feel like everything's shifting, and there's many reasons for this. Everything's shifting to the info space, the digital product space, the creator economy. And and you know this, Brett, they're saying like right now the creator economy is like $381 billion. And by 2028, it'll be over $1 trillion industry. And I'm sitting here going, you know what, man, I'm like, not only for myself, but like I'm surrounded by people that have amazing wisdom. And the only reason why they're not being heard is because they don't know how to enter into this new era of the digital space. And man, the digital space is not the space of the future. It's like Times Square now. Like it's like the public square right now. And people are missing the opportunity. So what I started leaning into, Brett, was I started saying, man, I want to teach people how to package their God-given wisdom into a digital product business, like show them how to break it down into ebooks and courses and coaching programs, and show them that they could literally reach people from all over the world by sitting here in front of their computer. And so now I've really dedicated my past 2 years of my life to helping people, break all of that wisdom down and form it into digital products.
I love that. Now, before coming on to, working with us and working with Jamil and everybody, where were you kind of at? Like, what was that situation there that, made you want to take the leap into working with us?
Oh man. Well, I feel like, so when I first started this, I made a $10,000 investment into a program that basically taught me a 30,000 foot view of the digital product space. I'm so thankful that I did that because it allowed me to take action, but I still didn't have a lot of the how-tos. Like I had the what, where, when, why, but not a lot of the how. And so there was a lot of missing pieces for me. So because of that, like I started off with a bang, like boom, like I made $30,000 in my first 90 days. But after those 90 days, no one told me that if you didn't have the right marketing and you didn't have the right structure and you didn't have the right sales strategy, that you were basically going to stay in survival mode. So I would have months where literally I'm like having $5,000 months and $10,000 month and then a $2,000 month. And then I remember in November and December of 2024, I had $0 months. And I was like, what in the world is going on? And I knew something had to shift, something had to change. So I'm like always learning, I'm always growing. So I'm always like, I don't use Instagram to be merely just entertained. I'm going looking for information, tips, hacks, show me what to do. And I came across your Instagram video one time, and you were talking about marketing. And that led me to watching one of your YouTube videos. And then, man, I literally binge watched every YouTube video you had. And I was like, I was so drawn to the way that you made really complicated business and marketing and sales talk, how you really simplified it and you took the mystery out of it and really showed how this stuff worked. And just the way you taught was what drew me in. And so I remember even scheduling a call, and I was like, I know I don't even have the money to invest, but I've at least got to take this step and find out what all this is about. Jump on a call. Of course, they dropped the number. I'm like, I can't even do it. But in my heart, I walked away from that call and I walked into my house. I remember I was pacing in the driveway talking to one of your representatives. And I got done. I walk in the house and I told my wife, I don't care what it takes, but we're going to find the money and I'm going to work with that guy. Like, bottom line, like, I just know that if I work with him, this is going to change our business forever. And so it took me about 2 or 3 months. But man, as soon as I got the cash flow to do it, as soon as, and like, I kind of made that happen. I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes. And man, I gathered the money, set an appointment, and I was like, let's get going like yesterday.
Yeah, man, that's such a crazy story. I remember you telling that to me for the first time, like how you came across me, and like, dude, that touched me in some sort of way. Like, crazy story. But after like, hopping into the program and everything, like, and scaling out to, would you hit $40,000 or was it a little
Yeah,
more?
40K last month.
40K last month. And so scaling to that, like what was like the key differences for you to getting there?
Well, two things. Number one, I was just posting and hoping, and I didn't really have any kind of plan. I didn't have like a real marketing strategy. I didn't have my message dialed in. I had a process and I had a system that I could give to people, but I didn't know how to market it and I didn't know how to sell it. So like when I would sell, if I did make sales, it's because people extremely trusted me, from years of being faithful in ministry and speaking truth into people's lives. I think that our business really thrived off of just trust alone, but it wasn't on my marketing and sales skills. And I think that I had tapped out my audience up until, I met you and came into the program. And man, like when you started showing me how to put together my offer, how to communicate my offer, how not to sell features, but sell transformation. Like some of these things that you taught me in this program, I went from, okay, I had an idea of how that's supposed to work, but now I know how that's supposed to work. So the way I talk about you, Brett, like to a lot of people is the first program that I bought into gave me a 30,000 foot view of this mountain. And then when I signed up for your program, you actually showed me how to scale the mountain. And like that was the game changer for me, is like I needed somebody to tell me like, this is how you actually scale this mountain. This is what you do. This is how you create an offer. This is how you market. This is how you do content. And it's like, man, before I met you, I was just kind of like going off of intuition or even just trying to model stuff, because I do believe in the principle of like success leaves clues. Mm-hmm. But that can only go so far because a clue is still not the full evidence. Like it's just a clue. And then when I signed up for you, it was like all the mystery went away and I clearly knew what next steps were. And that was a game changer for me, man.
Amazing, man. Yeah, I think a lot of people today, they're doing the copying, which certainly can, get you far. Copying what works obviously is going to have you work, but it only gets you to a certain point. Having an actual strategy, I think a lot of people are lacking an actual strategy through the sales, through the marketing that they attend to, that they actually stick to in order to get the results. Like a lot of people are 100% lacking on that. But yeah. And so it's good that you got the clarity on the strategy, how to market your offer and all that stuff. I know we made some changes in your offer before. Like what was your offer like? And then after we were working with each other for a little bit, what did that offer become?
So when I first started this journey, I was like, man, I want to go after the 9-to-5ers, like I want to go after the 9-to-5ers. And you were kind of like, well, that's going to be kind of a uphill battle because you're really dealing with a generational mindset. Like this is how we've done it. This is how we're going to continue to do it. Like it's still World War II type rules to live by. Post World War II. Is like we got to give this 9-to-5 grind. And, I was like, man, I really want to desperately get people out of that lifestyle. And dude, I can't wait to share the story because this was such a game changer with one call that you and I did. But I hit, like, I'm talking about, I was consistent. I mean, I'm talking about months of drilling the 9-to-5 talk. Like, why are you working, trading hours for dollars when you could be doing this and then making money while you sleep and spending time on your terms and not getting permission for other people for how you live your life? Like I got really good at hammering that 9-to-5. But then like I realized when I would get on the calls, like sales calls with people, they so identified with the pain point of the 9-to-5, but they could not connect it to a future to see themselves out of it. And it just got so frustrating, so exhausting. And I remember coming to a call with you and I'm like, Brett, I just don't know what to do, man. Like I get on these sales calls with people and we're making some sales because we had upgraded our marketing, but I'm like, I can't like figure out how to take this over the top. And that's when you said this to me. You said, Mark, on all the sales calls that you've had paid in full, you said, what's the common denominator in all the calls that have bought into your program? And I said, the number one thing, I mean, it came to me in like 5 minutes. The number one thing is the people who felt like they had something to say. Messengers, people who had they had wisdom and felt like it was locked up in them. They had it. They just didn't know how to deliver it. When I tweaked that, $40K a month, when we started changing our content to focus on that, everybody that started showing up for our sales calls, I shouldn't say everybody, I would say, but in 80% to 90% were coming on going, I need the blueprint. I know you've got the solution. And so we dialed in that marketing, and then you connected me with another guy Jamil, who adjusted all my sales, who coaches in your program as well. And I'm talking about now we're legitimately having conversations of we'll probably be at 100K in September. And that blows my mind. I mean, think about this. I'm tell my wife all the time, 8 months ago, I was coming off of two $0 months.
Wow.
November, December of 2024, I made $0. And now we're in August of 2025. I've been working with you guys for a handful of months, and now we're legitimately talking about our first 100K month.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Dude, that's amazing. I think too, a lot of people, when it comes to marketing, they actually just don't truly understand the person that they want to service the most. My marketing strategy, a big secret, is really just talking to individuals that I like working with, so Mark, and implementing everything that he's saying about his pains, his desires into my marketing. And I'm running that loop constantly. So marketing to talking with clients to then putting it back into the marketing, which attracts more people, to then talking and then back into marketing. So that's a loop. And you're really just recognizing patterns there. And we found a pattern with the people that you like working with and servicing. So that's really amazing. Let's switch over to the sales side, because I know that was a little bit of a struggle for you. One thing that I believe that stuck out for you pertaining to what Jamila said is being a leader in sales calls. I think that stuck out to you, right? Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, man, just sales were hard for me in general, because I was raised in a culture where all the word sales, you immediately translate to something bad, something evil, the used car salesman type approach. And so I had to deal with theological concepts that really were embedded in my brain to understand sales. And so when I connected with the program and had some calls with Jamil, he started breaking down what true sales looked like, and that selling was not sleazy, but selling is serving and being a good leader. And when he started to show me the integrity side of selling, it blew me away. And I've developed this statement since I've been in the program, that selling really changed for me when I learned that selling wasn't manipulation, it was persuasion. And so selling, a lot of people attribute selling to manipulation. Well, manipulation is when you sell somebody something that benefits you but doesn't add value to them. But persuasion is literally, and this is what Jamil really showed me without saying it this way, he showed me this, is persuasion is when you help somebody make a decision that they need to make that's going to be helpful for them. And man, that was life-changing to me. And so I remember not only just the calls with Jamil, but I remember the first time that he set me down and was we're going to do a sales script here. And then we're going to role play over this. And I was man, this is so awkward. I'm role playing, role
playing sucks, man.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful at first. But I did one day with Jamil. We did a sales script, and he drilled me for an hour, and I closed $20,000 in the next 2 days.
Jeez.
it was like I had 4 sales calls. I closed all 4 of the next sales calls that I had. And so now it's like, I love selling. I love every aspect of the business. And yeah, I wouldn't have had I not connected with you guys. So I'm super thankful for that.
Yeah. The way I look at sales is like, somebody needs to make a decision, and usually the reason why they suffer is they get caught up in not making any decision, whether it's a yes or no, to do anything. And it's my job as a person, and especially if I believe that this person can receive help from me, the decision should be yes for them to get the transformation that they want. It is my job on that sales call to make them make a decision. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in la la land forever and going to start to suffer even more. So that's how I view sales, is like leading that person there. And I think, you kind of discovered that as well, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious for you, man. Like, so you had your past life in a way, you kind of have now that's going on. What could you take from what you were doing before, as far as the ministry, preaching, all that stuff that you're bringing over into your business at the moment?
I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, even though I experienced that level of success in my 20s, it wasn't just because I was gifted or charismatic or could communicate. It was because I actually cared about people. And, at the end of the day, what I can bring over from, at least like from a heart level, is digital products, and what I do in the digital product space is easy for me because I care about people. So I love serving people. I love giving them the stuff that has changed my life, transformed my life. I love to give it to them so they can experience the same kind of transformation. It's like finding your favorite restaurant. It's like, once you find that place that you just love to eat, you want to take all your friends there. You want other people to experience it. So, I mean, for me, it's definitely been that. I would say too that really thankful for my experience in the traditional publishing world, because I had 2 like major Christian book deals. And what's interesting though is both of those deals were extremely disappointing. I thought they were going to revolutionize my life, in the sense of, I thought I was going to be like Joel Osteen and have my book everywhere. And in some ways, my book did go a lot of places. Like, it was a Faith Point pick for Books A Million nationwide 3 months in a row. Like, I had a top 20 new release in Christian books in 2023. So like, again, strong launches, but after the launch is over, these big publishing companies, they have other books to launch, so they move on. And one of the things that I had to learn in that was, okay, I was disappointed in how they handled my book after the launch, but it's what actually taught me the thing that I'm teaching other people now, which is how to build infrastructure around your message and be able to package that wisdom. And I actually end up selling more through my self-publishing platform, through my content, and through how I built my digital products than they did for me with distribution nationwide. And so, like, man, that's just the way it is, though. Like, you can either be a victim of your circumstances, or you can choose to learn in those moments and turn that victimhood into a victory. And I'm just that person. Like, I refuse to like just accept circumstances as they are if I don't like them. It's like, we're too powerful for that. So it's like these zero, like looking back into like my ministry world days, it's like those things that I got disappointed with, I didn't become bitter, frustrated, or a victim of those things like most people do. And they give themselves permission to live a sucky life the rest of their life because they're a victim. I'm like, no, I'm going to learn from all of this, grow from all of this, and be better. And that's what I've done, man, from that old world.
Amazing, man. Amazing. What would you say, like, knowing what you know now, I know you're taking some stuff over into what you're doing, but knowing what you know now, what's like one piece of advice you can give to somebody who's trying to scale their coaching business?
Oh, man. Well, the first thing is, don't ever hesitate to get a mentor. Don't do whatever it takes to invest into a coach, because here's what I know now. Whether it's you, whether it's the guy that I invested my first 10K into, and thinking about myself now as a coach, like I've got 10 years as an author. I've got 10 years as a digital course creator. I've got 10 years of experience in podcasting and YouTube and all these different things, media in general. And I'm able now to take 10 years of my experience plus almost $100,000 that I've invested into coaching. And now I'm able to deliver that in a fraction of the time and a fraction of the price. So it's almost idiotic to say anything to anyone else, because to say anything else other than you need to find a coach, just like I did with Brett, that resonates with you, that you know they are carrying what you need, and don't balk at the price. Like, do whatever it takes to find the money, because if you do, that money is not only going to give you more money, but it's going to accelerate the time in which you can get the return on investment. Mm-hmm. And that's the power of a coach. So I'm like, man, of all things, I mean, like I could say a lot of things, but the thing that has transformed me is I invested in you. And one of the greatest compliments that I received, we were actually together in Miami just a couple weeks ago at the time of this recording. And you were talking to someone and you said, you know, the difference between Mark and all these other businesses, and you said this in front of a room full of people, is when we told Mark to do something, he did it. Mm-hmm. And see, that's the cheat code though, is I didn't know what to do to take my business to the next level. You did. So I hired you as a coach, and then I did what you said. Mm-hmm. And now we're talking about 40K months, just 8 months after having 2 0K months.
Yeah. Wow.
And that's the difference.